Hello everyone, and welcome to what I call the Big Month Update presentation video. Reason why I called it that is because at the start of this month, up until right now, there have been some really big changes to the game, so we're gonna reveal them all today. Now, just a disclaimer, most of the clips were filmed on the GRG3 account, and this was not meant to be a GRG3 video, but I was not capable to restart all that again because it will take a lot of time off of getting this out. So I'm very sorry if that annoys you, but I'm sure you won't mind by that. Another thing, I'm going to set out some video examples for some updates, because some of the updates have videos, which I'll list also in the description in the exact order that they show on the video. So the first big change on the list is the New Year Gamemode music. So what I mean by that is the EF music that is in all of the multi-tornado rounds, monster tornado round, easy tornado round, and all the other EF rounds does not have custom music. So not normal round, not all music, not airstrikes, not imposters, that I think the rest of those musics, and that's what we're going to talk about. So, in the New Year's event, we want this to be the best of the best and a new start. So, what we had for the first theme was the regular theme, the second one also the regular, third one Christmas theme, fourth one Halloween theme, and fifth one Halloween theme. And we are not going to mention the sixth one since it's always going to be the same and it will always ever be the same. That's not going to change, so we're not going to mention it, but the first five we are going to mention. So what I said before, the first one regular, second regular, third Christmas, fourth, fifth Halloween. Did do a great start, but I thought we need to do a bit more on that. So what we did now is, instead of just a selected track from each, now all 15 soundtracks can be played in there now. Which I'm not counting the rare one, otherwise I would have said 16, but there's 15 tracks altogether, and now we can use them all. And also to note, I also kinda did the same thing with the big game mode, but in the New Year's event, but it literally just randomizes the music between the regular ones, the Halloween ones, and the Christmas ones. This is an example video of this exact update. So if you want to experience this update whole, it's best to watch the video. And it's already released, so you can play the game too. The next update or change, whichever word fits best on the list, is new disaster sounds. So this update is pretty self-explanatory. We have updates on disaster sounds. Here are the two disasters that we updated sounds to. We have updated the standard lightning strike sound, and we have updated the volcano sound. The reason why is because I want to give those disasters a new start. I want to give them new sounds so they feel lively to the game that they're in. So I hope you enjoyed those new disaster sounds. The next update on the list is Super Queues. But before we get on to the actual Super Queues, we're going to explain a bit about the testers Super Queue we did for Gamemode, which started on the 5th of January and ended on the 7th of January and was deemed as successful. We didn't need to do a disaster one because we only need to do one, and the Gamemode one was the only one since we only had a Gamemode one since then. But now let's explain about the actual ones. Now, what I'm about to show you is a display screen which shows the dates that the Super Queues are going to be on. Both the Gamemode Super Queue and the Disaster Super Queues. Now, they're not always the same. They change each year, so you don't know when the next Super Queues for Gamemodes or Disasters are going to be. So keep an eye out on those display screens to check which dates those Super Queues are on for those years. But to get back on the testers Super Queue thing, I've also made a video on some of the highlights of the testers Super Queue I did. So if you want to see how it works, it is best to watch that video. Or you can wait until the next Super Queue and you can play it then. I also forgot to mention that the order that the queues are in order gameplay, so they go in a particular order, both the Gamemode and Disasters. Next update is the lobby system change and the scaling system view change. There is not really much to explain about either of them, so let's go with what we did. First, explaining about the lobby system change. It's basically only just a team startup update. When you join the game, it sends you to your corresponding lobby. If not, it randomly picks a lobby which is not the server controls and zone or creators layer. But we decided to change that a bit. One thing, and you probably don't know this, but we have changed the fact that when you are not in the group, you cannot randomly spawn in the starters lobby anymore. You can only randomly spawn in lobbies 1 to 8, which is actually what it should have been for a while. But now we did it, and I am very happy about the outcomes of it. And also, to add on a reasoning, it's also so if you are in the starters lobby, I know that you have just joined the group too, so that's another reason. But another change we did with the teaming startup, and this is definitely noticeable, I have added an extra group role called the controllers. Now this cannot be chosen by you because it's kind of another creators role, so you cannot enter there unless permitted by me, whichever GRG account I'm using. So what that does is when you're in that role, if I have chosen you to be in there, you basically have access to the server controls lobby, which I think is nice to only have a private service, but I think we need at the time that I don't want it just to be accessing private servers. we need some controllers to get access to it and other server types too, so that's what we did. And that's all the lobby system changes we did. And now onto the scaling system view change. Now, there's not much to explain about this one, so let's get right into it. So, what we did is that switching lobby thing of each scale group is now extremely rare. And we added another option to fit in with that switcher place, which is what the switching one used to be. It's basically just random lobby, but you are stuck in that lobby view until the end of the scaling system. Oh no, wait. It is stuck there for the entire server. So if you rejoin, you have a different selected view, which it's the random one chosen until you switch servers. And then you got the basic ones like the lobby that you're in and the original starters lobby, which you will normally view in. That's basically all that we changed for the scaling system view change, because I didn't like how common the switching one was. So it's still there, but it's extremely rare and what is actually meant to be. Okay, now let's move on. Next update on the list is the house challenge update. And here we updated 2 challenges, which are the challenge and mystery flood race. I'll explain the main components of those updated challenges. So let's get started. So the first challenge, which is the challenge, we have changed the purpose of it from the better tornado, which is just scores going up every random time position, which was so useless, to an actual tornado battle, which the tornado that causes the most damage wins, which is much more reasonable and was actually meant to be the main purpose when the game mode was released in the first place, but we couldn't implement one with the knowledge I had then. Now we implemented that, and I am very happy that this change was made, because now there is a purpose of the challenge, which was meant to be a tornado battle in the first place. And the tornado that causes most damage wins. Because what it was before, sometimes it's most likely going to go in a draw. And I don't like that. That's vicious. I wanted to change that way earlier, but I'm glad I did it now rather than later, or else it will never happen. Also, we have added an own theme to this challenge, which is a great addition as well. So that's it for the challenge. And now let's go into Mystery Flood, which basically at the end now reveals what the flood height actually is. Sorry for moving the headphones. I'll get right back into it. Now it reveals what the flood height was at the end. So, before we move on, there is an example video, which I encourage you to watch if you want to see what the visuals of those updated challenges are, or you can just play the game mode and play them yourself. It's your choice in the matter. Now let's talk about update 5, which is the beam update. There are actually 2 beam updates in this video, but we're going to talk about this one in particular, which is updated to certain disasters such as heart rain and game modes such as Tartarus and Halloween. The reason why I say that, and you probably know where I'm going with this. Alongside the Monster Tornado round, there was a beam update before the map pack update, which shows the airstrikes, ice beam, and lobby beam. That same beam update is now implemented into Heart Rain, Tartarus, Phase 4, Pure Chaos, and the Halloween, what is it? Spooky Beams. So, what you can expect is you can either end up with either airstrikes, the classic airstrikes, the ice beam, which is basically the easy one, or the lobby beam, which is the hard one. In my opinion. Your opinion may be different, but now you can experience either one of them in those disasters, which is a good thing to add to those disasters, especially Heart Rain. Heart Rain was the main reason I did that. Basically because with it being classic airstrikes all the time, it basically just outruns the airstrike disaster by itself, which I basically find really not good, to be exact. So, now you can experience either those 4 beams that I mentioned, so it can either be easier or harder. If I didn't explain it correctly, here is an example video of the update, which will show you the exact visual of the update so you know what to expect in either Heart Rain, Tartarus Phase 4, Pure Chaos, and the Halloween Spooky Beams. And also Monster Tornado round, but Monster Tornado round already existed. It's just expanded across those disasters I mentioned. That's basically this beam update. In this update, we have added more settings to the creator's setting menu. Even though it is only used by creators, I wanted to show you how they function in this presentation. First, let's have a look at the creator's settings menu. What we showed you is all the default settings on those settings that we showed you. Now, let's show you how they work. Let's start with the 5 main settings that were there from the very start of when the creator setting menu was released. Starting with event features. This setting is automatically set to on when you start a server and will always start at on. When you turn this setting off, most event features will be disabled, making it feel like you're in the normal event. Next setting is underground shelter. This setting is automatically set to on when you start a server, and will have a 15% chance of it starting at off. When you turn this setting off, the shelter will be disabled in round, so you will have to survive the tornado without the shelter if this setting is off. Next setting is only big game mode. This setting is automatically set to off when you start a server and will always start at off. When you turn this setting on, the only game mode you will experience is the 5 big game modes. Next setting is randomized gameplay music. This setting is automatically set to off when you start a server and will always start at off. When you turn this setting on, it will randomize the EF scale music, the EF game mode music, the disaster music, and the big game mode name music. Let me explain a bit more when you turn this on. It will randomize the seasonal music between 7 different options. The first option is Cyber, the second option is Captive Games, the third option is Event Shuffler, the fourth option is the regular option, the fifth option is the Halloween option, the sixth option is the Christmas option, and the seventh option is the New Year's option. Next option is Classic Event Countdown Music. This setting is automatically set to off when you start a server and will have a 10% chance of it starting at on. When you turn this on, you will hear all the classic event countdown music. Now let's talk about the new settings we have added. Starting with randomized music speed. This setting is automatically set to off when you start a server and will always start at off. When you turn this setting on, it's kind of like the randomized gameplay music but with the music speed. Now let me explain more. The speeds they can randomize to is the normal speed, the fast taken over speed, the slow taken over speed, the super taken over speed, and the decreased taken over speed. Next setting is Classic Disaster Sound. This setting is automatically set to off when you start a server, and it will have a 2% chance of it starting at on. When you turn this setting on, you will hear the classic disaster sound that were changed from the new disaster sound update. Next setting is scaling system. This setting is automatically set to on when you start a server and will always start at on. When you turn this setting off, it will disable the scaling system. Next setting is speed survival duration. This setting is automatically set to on when you start a server and will always start at on. When you turn this setting off, the speed survival rounds, which is fast survival and slow survival round, will have the same duration as all the other tornado rounds. Next setting is experimental mode. This setting is automatically set to auto when you start a server and will always start at auto. When you turn this setting off, it will disable experimental mode, and when you turn this setting on, it will always be experimental mode. Next setting is gameplay extras. This setting is automatically set to auto when you start a server and will always start at auto. Gameplay extras consist of the music settings, such as the normal scaling system music speed and the default roleplay music. And also we got the orbs that spawn randomly during the map. Those are what the gameplay extras are. When you turn this setting off, it will disable them and none of those things that I mentioned will happen. When you turn this setting on, the music settings, such as the normal scaling system music speed and the default music, will always happen, and the orb rarity will be more common to spawn. Last setting is the month setting one. This one just changes the month setting. So you could change it to regular dates, which is the default setting, extended month 1, which is 13 to 24, extended month 2, which is 25 to 36, extended month 3, which is months 37 to 48, or you can go debug month, which is the recently updated event or testing one, or what I just set it to in studio. Or you can go to special month, which is usually the common month event or the best of year event. This update, you might not think it's big, but it's actually game changing to some server types. This is the event set update. Now what this is the fact that you can change to certain server types that you want to experience in a different server type. If that doesn't make sense, I'll explain a bit more about it. Not only did I add this to the Tornado Alley 7 game, but I also added it to the lobby, but the lobby one requires a bit more explaining, so we'll talk about the main game first. Just a heads up, if you are in these server types that are on screen right now, the event set update will be disabled and everything will run as normal on these server types. But the rest of them, I'll explain how the event set update works. where you'll find the event set panels in the creator settings. Now, we did not want to give it away in the creator setting, I wanted to show it here. So here's how it worked. Each event set corresponds with a server type, and I'll explain what each of them are. Now, the default setting of this is not always the same, where each of them corresponds to a different one depending on what server type you're in. And the 5 server types that were mentioned, those server types will be disabled and the feature will not work on there. So let's get started with what they are. Starting with main set. Main set is where the event change streams normally happen, and this is the normal server type setting. Now, as we go on to the other ones, I'll explain what each of them goes to. So, event set 1 is the backup and storage servers. The event set 2 is the mobile server type. Event set 3 is the premium server type. Event set 4 is the computer server type. Event set 5 is the console server type 1. Event set 6 is the traffic light server type. And event set 7 is the all light server type. Now those are all the event set settings, and now let's reveal what you will expect in the Tornado Alley 7 lobby. In this menu, it kinda does the same thing, as each of them corresponds to a certain room in the lobby. Now, as you look at the bottom of the menu, you'll see 3 buttons. That's what I call the 3 R's. Now, I'll tell you what they do. When you click reset, all of the options will turn to the main set. If you click revert, all of the event set will revert to the original event sets that they started with. Now, if you go to the random one, it will completely randomize all the rooms to different server types. And if you click it again, it will randomize them again. It's like, oh, what am I gonna get in this server type? Oh, it's that one. Yeah, that kind of thing. You can randomize them however you want. So that's how this menu in the Tornado Alley lobby works. I forgot to mention the fact that in the main game, the event set will not update until the round is complete. This update, you'll mostly be seeing gameplay of this section. But here is what I'm going to explain about it. This used to be only on bonus round, but I expanded it across all the other big game modes. So here are some gameplay footage of the mystery game mode round updates, including the bonus round one, which already existed before we made this update. here we got another game changer update. This time we have revamped the whole tornado scales system. Not the scaling system. Well, the scaling system is part of it, but the tornado scales itself. You still get mostly scales between EF0 to Unstoppable High, but we've now expanded it. Now, on a rare occasion, you can experience an EF-1 or an Unstoppable Extreme separately when it's not Monster Tornado Round or Easy Tornado Round. And let's get to the scaling system part. I've added a section for them, and the areas that correspond to it will stay throughout the entire scaling system. But if there are no areas in the extra system section we added, it is either Monster Tornado Round or Easy Tornado Round. That the no area spawning thing has been recently changed. It will only feature when both the no lucky lobby modifier and the only lucky lobby modifier are both turned on at the same time, conveying a feature which will enable that again. But I've got a gameplay clip of Monster Tornado Round and the scaling system features. Let me show you that. Yes, I did say there were 2 beam updates in this presentation, but this one is aimed towards the side disasters in the big game mode. What is the update? I'm glad you asked. Now, they can spawn multiple in the one time. Now, let's explain more about it to make sure that you make sense about it. So, there's a chance system connected to all 4 beams where it can spawn multiple in the one time. So, the maximum it can spawn is 3 in the one time. So, let's explain the chances. There is a 3% chance of it spawning 2. And there is a 0.5 chance of it spawning 3. It can still spawn only 1, but just to note, now that it can spawn multiple in the one time, it may make it even trickier than with it only being 1 spawned during that time period. So keep in mind of that. Alright, that's all we need to say about this update. Let's move on. The final update on the list is the sub-modes update for the big game mode. Now this is the biggest thing we have done yet for the big game modes. There are 5 big game modes in this game, right? So we added 5 sub-modes for those big game modes. I'm going to show you a list of what the titles are. Take a good look at them. Alright, now let's explain what the sub-variants are for what big game mode. Tornado Challenge is a sub-mode for Doomsday. Disaster Chaos is a sub-mode for Bonus Round. Evil Elevator is a sub-mode for Tartarus. Calm Zone is a sub-mode for Olympus. And Tartarus Challenge Takeover is a sub-mode for House Challenge. We just told you the main info of what the sub-modes are. Now let's talk about how we can activate them. So, to activate Tornado Challenge, you need to experience for the green 10 times. So if you experience, doesn't matter if you vote for it or queue it or randomly picking it, you must experience it 10 times for it to activate Tornado Challenge. To activate Disaster Chaos, the Doomsday Clock must say extra risk. It's a bit more rare for it to say extra risk than the other times for the Doomsday Clock. But if it says extra risk, you might be at risk of experiencing Disaster Chaos. To activate Evil Elevator, you must collect the blue orb for it to switch villains. It has 2 villains, the main one which is Tartarus, and the new villain, Evil Elevator. Collect the blue orb to switch the villain to the Evil Elevator to experience the sub-mode. To activate Calm Zone, you must collect 2 bonus tokens. So sometimes you'll only spawn one and that will activate the bonus round, but in a 10% chance of the bonus coin rarity, it will spawn two. Collect them both to activate the Calm Zone sub-mode. And to activate the Tartarus Challenge takeover, you must collect an extra moon fragment, or in this game's case, a red gem. You must collect an extra one to activate the risk of it occurring. One more thing, there will be a video about the sub-modes that will be in the making very soon. So after this video is out, I will get into making the sub-mode video so you can experience what they are, if you don't want to wait to get them. This concludes the big month update presentation video. I hope you enjoyed all of the updates that we presented to you today. You can experience them right now because they are already released. This video acted differently because it released before we made this video, but I wanted to showcase what we have done for the entirety of this month because it took this whole month to make this update collection possible. So I hope you enjoyed it. But for now, goodbye, and I'll see you in the next video.